Okay, people. I've been using the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 3 as my daily driver ever since it first came out. And I think it's about time we had that talk. So let's start with the price because obviously that's the biggest question that surrounds the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 3. In the Philippines, it's gonna cost you 87,990 pesos for the 256 version and 95,995 pesos for the 512 gigabyte version, which is close to 100K. Now, that is a lot of money to be spending on a smartphone. When the Galaxy Z Fold first came out around 2 years ago, there were a bunch of problems, and you would have heard about the infamous peeling screen issue, which a lot of media and techies have been complaining about in the first generation of the Galaxy Z Fold. And that's understandable because the technology for foldable smartphones is still pretty new. We have now gone through at least 2 generations of this foldable product. And I can tell you with confidence that this product right here is robust and it's finally reached its mature form. So, given that, I would say that the Galaxy Z Fold 3, now in its third generation, is what the Galaxy Z Fold series is supposed to be. Just look at it, okay? The screen is almost perfect. Looking at it closely, you can see that it's a very high quality display panel, great color reproduction, very good image quality. There are only two things that I would say keeps this from being a perfect screen. The first being this punch hole right here. That hole can become transparent in order to reveal a very small camera underneath the display. Next, you have this crease right in the middle, which is where the device folds itself in half. So just from that internal display panel, we already have two very new and very forward-looking technologies that until several years ago we thought or we wouldn't have imagined would be possible, and it's here in 2021. So first, we have that under-display camera, which I think for a phone like this, it may not be completely necessary because we already have one camera module at the back and another camera module right here at the hover screen. If you know where to look, you'd notice that there's an uneven section in the display. So that technology still has some room to improve. Next, let's talk about that crease. So on a foldable device, there is no way that you're not gonna have a crease. That's just physics. Even if you have the best quality foldable display, you're gonna have to fold it in half. If you know where to look, you're gonna see this uneven display, and that is where the crease is. So if you look closely, there's a piece of metal that connects the two panels together. I've been using it ever since this first came out. This is an engineering sample, but in my experience, it didn't feel weak at all. It feels strong and it feels very, very well designed. Even if I try to bend it like this, okay, you can see that it's actually holding up. Of course, there's a limit, and if you're gonna really force it, you're gonna break the phone apart, but no one's gonna be doing that unless your name happens to be Jerry Rig Everything. Now, Samsung went all out and added an additional display in the front cover, which you can see right here. If the inner display was all that I had to work with, I'd be fine. I don't think I'm gonna miss the display on the cover, but it does have its uses. especially if you want to be able to do something quickly without having to open the screen. It is also helpful if you want to be able to take selfies using this main camera system right here, because you can actually set the camera up so that you can see yourself while you're recording or taking a photo with the main camera system. So far I've been talking about the features and the technologies on the Galaxy Z Fold 3 that you would not find on any normal smartphone. And I think that is the most important conversation that we're gonna have. If you've been holding out, this is the time for you to get one. Now, for the sake of completion, let's talk about all the other features such as performance, camera, and battery life. So let's start with performance. The Galaxy Z Fold 3 runs on the Snapdragon 888 5G. We ran some benchmarks and we were able to score at least 7,000 points in Passmark performance test benchmark, and that is flagship level performance. It's at the top of our rankings as far as smartphones go for the year 2021. Both the memory and internal storage did really well, and that's not surprising coming from Samsung, which is one of the biggest manufacturers of memory and storage devices in the world. The device runs on Android 11 out of the box with Samsung's One UI 3.1.1. We ran every game imaginable on this device. All the graphics heavy games including Genshin Impact and Marvel Future Revolution. We jacked the graphics settings all the way up to the highest possible settings, and the Galaxy Z Fold 3 handled that with flying colors. It is a flagship level device and it is a very capable gaming phone. The only thing that you should look out for is compatibility, because like I mentioned earlier, some of the games and some of the applications might not be available on the Play Store, or they just might not run because of compatibility issues. Then of course, there's the battery life. We have more than one screen and it's a Super AMOLED display, which is one of the most power efficient display panels that you can get. And according to AccuBattery, we have an average of 8 hours and 11 minutes of screen on time. Combined use is at 16 hours and 49 minutes, while for screen off time, it goes to around 72 hours and 40 minutes. So if you're just gonna be using this phone for, say, multimedia, browsing, social media, streaming, and content creation, you can expect at least a day and a half of battery life. If, however, you're gonna go heavy on gaming, this phone will last you at least a day. What normally happens is that I still have some battery left at the end of the day, and I just leave it to charge overnight, and then I'm good to go the next day. And by the way, this phone has wireless charging, so if you have a wireless charger, you can just simply leave it on top and the phone's gonna charge itself overnight. So for content creation, you have a lot of options on the Galaxy Z Fold 3. This main camera module right here consists of 3 sensors. You have a 12 megapixel main sensor with OIS. You also have a 12 megapixel telephoto lens with OIS. Then lastly, you have a 12 megapixel ultra-wide sensor without OIS. So for selfies, you have 2 options. You have that cover camera and you have that under display selfie camera, which is something that you can only access once you unfold the device. But between the two, the cover camera has better specs. So let's talk about that first. So this camera right here is the better of the two. It has a 10 megapixel sensor with no OIS. Moving inside, you have this under display camera system, which only reveals himself once you switch to selfie mode on the camera software. This is the weakest of all the cameras on the Galaxy Z Fold 3 because it only has a 4 megapixel camera sensor. So check out these photos that we took of different subjects in different lighting conditions using the various cameras on the Galaxy Z Fold 3 and tell us what you think of them. So what's the bottom line? The Galaxy Z Fold 3, first of all, it's expensive and it's not without good reason. You have a lot going on in this device. You have 2 displays, you have at least 5 cameras, you have an under display technology, you have a foldable display technology. These are technologies that have very little competition, and Samsung has finally reached that level of maturity in the product development lifecycle that you can say you have a fully mature and robust product in the 3rd generation of the Galaxy Z Fold series. So if you have the budget, if you've been holding out, this is the time for you to get one. You can have that peace of mind that it's not just gonna fall apart. You have a very robust and rigid device in your hands in the Galaxy Z Fold 3. So do you have any questions? Do you have any violent reactions? Do you agree with the thoughts that I shared in this video? Drop them in the comment section below. We would appreciate if you could like this video and of course, subscribe to us at the same time. This has been Kuya Den for Tech Kuya, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Paalam!